is NUUR AMIRA binti AZMAN with student ID 2024289368. Imagine giving your best at work every single day, staying late to finish your tasks, but when payday comes, your extra hours are being ignored. How would that affect your motivation, your health, and your trust in your employer? In the field of human resource management, two basic concepts that are important for employee well-being and organizational integrity are the payment system and working hour. The payment system refers to how employees are compensated for their effort. This includes not only basic wages or salary, but also overtime pay, bonuses, and allowance. A fair and transparent system ensures that employees are rewarded for their actual contributions and that organizations comply with labor laws. On the other hand, working hours define the amount of time an employee is expected to work. Under Malaysia's Employment Act 1955, the standard limit is 48 hours per week or 8 hours per day. Any time work beyond this limit qualifies as overtime, which must be fairly compensated at higher rates. However, challenges remain. In Malaysia, some employees are still facing excessive hours, unpaid overtime, and limited rest. This issue raises concerns not only about legal compliance, but also about fairness, well-being, and productivity. Therefore, ensuring fair working hours and compensation is more than just a regulation. It is a responsibility that protects the employee and builds trust within the workplace.
Assalamualaikum, my name is REZA binti MOHAMAD JEFFREE with student ID 20246906. I'm going to talk about the positive and the negative impact of payment system and working hour to employee and the organization. The positive impact to employee is they can have a job satisfaction where they're satisfied with working overtime because it feels appreciated when they get a fair compensation for making the extra work. Next is when employee working overtime, they can improve their skills and also experience, where it can lead to increase their efficiency during working and master of skill and also have a good potential to get a promotion. Under Malaysian employment law, when the employees work extra hours, they must be paid more than the normal hourly rate. So by having an overtime, employee can have an extra income. In Malaysia, if we are working on the rest day, we will be paid at the double the hourly rate, and on the public holiday is being paid at the triple the hourly rate. For example, if a worker normally earn RM10 ringgit per hour, working overtime on a holiday could be give them 30 ringgit per hour instead. Now we will talk about the positive impact to the organization. First, it will help the organization to achieve their goals. So when the employees are willing to work overtime, it allows the organization to meet their deadlines, handle the increased workload, and address staff shortage, especially during a season fluctuation. Next is the organization can reduce the cost of hiring a new employee. For example, by using existing employee, the organization have the potential to reduce the onboarding cost and training time associated with new hires. Last but not least, about the positive impact to the organization is organization can have a good reputation and avoid penalties. So when the organization follow Malaysian employment law, especially rules on working hours and overtime payment, it shows that they have respect their employee rights and protect company from finance and lawsuit. Now let's move to the negative impact of payment system and working hour to employee. First, we have job dissatisfaction. The job dissatisfaction can happen when employee working at normal hour or overtime be unpaid or underpaid. It can cause frustration and may lead to employee to seeking another employment opportunity. Next is working overtime may lead to work-life imbalance where employee did not get enough rest and it will affect their health such as have a heart disease, stroke, and mental illness issue like a depression and anxiety. It can also weaken their immune system, making the individual more susceptible to illness. Last but not least is a competition for overtime opportunity can occur between the employees. This can be happen because we all know that working overtime can give us extra income. So some employees will try their best to get an overtime opportunity. So some employee may get more overtime opportunity and this can cause anger among another employee and it can lead to a fight.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Amir bin ARHAN with student ID 2024442158. Today I will talk about negative impact to the organization. The first one is higher cost. Overtime pay is more expensive than normal wages. Extra working hour also increase electricity, equipment and maintenance costs. The second one is lower productivity. Employees get tired and stressed when working too long. Tired workers make more mistakes and work slower, that reducing the overall output. And the last one is higher turnover of employee. Employee may quit and look for a job with better working hours, causing the company to lose skilled staff and spend more on hiring.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. I am AISHAH and my student ID 2024290346. Today, I will be talking about the consequences of not addressing fair working hours and compensation in Malaysia. Specifically, I will focus on three key issues, which is below statutory contract terms, unpaid or excessive overtime, and excessive working hours with ignore rest break. First, we have contract terms that are below the statutory minimum. Under Section 7 of the Employment Act, any contract offering less favorable terms than the law allows is automatically void. For example, if a contract states no overtime claim is allowed, the law overrides it. Employees are still entitled to claim their overtime pay, and the employer could even be investigated. Second, unpaid overtime or work beyond the legal limits. By law, employees are entitled to overtime pay at a rate of 1.5 times the normal wage, double pay for rest days, and triple pay for public holidays. Imagine an employee working 20 hours of overtime every month for a year without proper pay. If reported, the company could suddenly owe thousands in back wage, along with possible penalties. Finally, let's look at the third issue, excessive working hours and ignoring rest break. The law sets a limit of 45 hours per week with a maximum of 8 hours per day or 9 hours under certain agreement, and it also requires mandatory rest breaks. If a company forces employees to work 12 to 14 hours a day without breaks, that's a clear breach of the law. Employees can file complaints with the Labour Department, which may result in penalties. So, as we can see, non-compliance in these areas doesn't just bring legal and financial risk, it also harms employees' well-being, damages trust, and threatens the long-term sustainability of the business.
Assalamualaikum, and now I will present about the solution of the issues. The first one is define clear working hours. The employer should define their working hours clearly to the employee. In Malaysia, the standard working hours is around 45 hours per week and 8 hours per day. Employers should follow the standard working hours to avoid their employees overwork. When the employees are not overworked, it can lead them to the better performance. Okay, next is overtime regulation. Employers should alert with overtime regulation. Based on the Employment Limitation and Overtime Work Regulation 1980, an employee can be expected to perform only 104 hours of overtime in a month. Other than that, employers need to pay extra hour fairly and use the legal overtime rates to their employees that have worked overtime. For example, employees should be paid at a rate not less than 1.5 times their hourly rate of pay. Okay, next, the third one is monitor the working hours of the employee. Employees should monitor working hours of their employees every day to avoid unfair practices. They can use digital or biometric system to record attendance and in and out times. By use this system, they can alert if there are any employees that work over the legal limits. Okay, and the last one is employees' voice. Employers should give the employees a platform to express their opinion, suggestion, or feedback about their workplace. They can report if there are any unfair schedules or issues about incorrect or delayed payments. Based on the employees' feedback, employers should improve what they lack as soon as possible so that it can prevent the unfairness at the workplace and also prevent employees from resigning.
In conclusion, the issue of payment system and working hour remain one of the most important challenges in today's workplace. Unpaid overtime, excessive hour, and unfair treatment are the problems that cannot be ignored. So, from our discussion earlier, payment system and working hour can bring benefit and risk. If handled fairly, they can motivate employee, but when they ignore, they lead to burnout. The solution is simple: pay fairly. When employees are treated right, then company grows stronger. This tells us that fair pay and balanced working hours are not just legal obligation, but also a powerful tool for long-term organizational success. Companies that respect this principle gain stronger loyalty, healthier employee, and a sustainable growth. Fair pay and balanced hours are the key to thriving employee and a thriving organization.